If you say the word patriot in this city, someone will eventually mention the name of Carl Evans, for no one has done more to serve his nation and this city, and to instill a love of country into the minds of young people than has Carl. And now we honor Carl on this, the 65th anniversary of his induction into the local American Legion. And it is here at the Legion that we honor him tonight. Many of you think you know Carl, but what you may have learned about his good deeds over the years likely only scratched the surface of the full measure of this amazing, patriotic, loving gentleman. So for a few moments, sit back as I tell you the Carl Evans story. As many of you know, Carl was a transplant here in the valley. He came here well before the Second World War, moving here from the vineyards and wineries of upstate California. It was his family that moved him here just before his 15th birthday. At the time, there was only one high school building here, the crumbling Mercer High. Many of you in the audience, I'm sure, have fond memories of that old building, complete with every kind of antiquated facility you can imagine. But Carl excelled there. He was always at the top of the list when the report cards were passed out, and his leadership skills were instantly recognized. When the attack on Pearl Harbor shocked the nation, Carl was among the first boys in town to knock on the door of the draft board, demanding that he be allowed to serve. And serve he did. Many of you know Carl as the local boy who went on to win the Purple Heart and 17 other awards and honors during the 6 years he served in the military. He was with the boys at Normandy and later served his country in Brussels. But as stellar as Carl's military career was, it was his service to this city in the years after the war that has earned him a place in what you might call our local Hall of Fame. After leaving the military, Carl ran for public office, becoming the youngest person to ever be elected to the city council. His first project, a crusade really, was for a new high school building, and within 3 years, that dream was realized. The new Mercer High School was opened. Today, largely thanks to Carl's continuing leadership and his eventual 3 decades on the school board, Mercer is one of the nation's most honored schools. Military service, education, they only tell a small part of Carl's story. After the birth of his and Mary's first child, a child born with Down syndrome, Carl became a crusader for the rights of special children. He was the driving force behind the setting up of the local unit of the Special Olympics. For 2 years, he was on the national board of that organization. Through all of this, Carl would take time out to serve as a deacon in his local church and as a much-respected Sunday school teacher. A member of the local Lions, Rotary, and Kiwanis clubs, Carl became a roving ambassador for all 3 of these groups, telling the community service story to thousands around the tri-state region over the years. Working with the local Lions Club, Carl helped set up the Student Lions organization at Mercer High, the Leo Club. And as if that were not enough, Carl Evans this past year was named to the National Advisory Panel of AARP, the American Association of Retired Persons. Those of us who know Carl think of him as more than just a great man who so well represents this community. Carl is a cheerleader for us and for our city. He is a positive example to young people, and he has taught most of us that there is nothing corny about patriotism. So we honor Carl tonight, and I am honored to tell you one thing. something that is likely the best-kept secret many of us have had to keep in a long time. I'm happy to announce that when our second high school campus is finished, it will be officially named Carl Evans High School. Carl has worn many hats and taken on 1,000 tasks. He has worn those hats with dignity and carried out those tasks with precision and effectiveness. Tonight we honor you, Carl. But in many, many ways, it is you who have honored us by simply being yourself.